Test, 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 test. I have to unpause it and then I have to do one other thing before we
I
start.
said whenever the machinery's ready.
Come on now. Please rise. Today is the 17th day of December in the year 2025. The Frisco Municipal Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Ron Carlson presiding.
Please be seated. Welcome to this, our last session of the year for 2025. For many of you, it's the first time in court, or at least in the first time in this court. Court procedures require in each case there be an advisement first and then a proceeding, anything after that for what we would call substantial. Translated, that means in each case, I'm required to first advise you of the nature of the charges against you. Secondly, to tell you the maximum possible penalty. Third, establish on the record that you understand your legal rights. And then we can get to how to handle your case. As to the nature of the charges, municipal court's pretty simple. I normally just read what's on the ticket. If you want, I can read the statutory definition, which is longer, but in general, it just slows things down, but you're certainly welcome to ask for that. The maximum penalty, does that not mean that's what people are getting? That's what I'm required to tell you is the worst case. And as far as your rights, it's mostly, have you read and understood, and do you know what a trial is? Which I'm happy to provide explanations of anything on your right sheet or anything else you have questions of, please ask. And then on each plea, I'm required to ask a series of questions to establish what the law calls a free and voluntary plea. And so everything involves 4 steps or so. Please be patient as we work our way through those. It is designed to protect everybody's legal rights and to make sure everyone knows what's going on. That all being said, first case I have is Jonathan Duffner. Did you come to the podium? We are a court of record, so you need to speak loud enough to be recorded on that microphone there. Sir, it appears the only charge I'm seeing is you've been summoned to court to answer allegations you had no proof of insurance as required by Model Traffic Code Section 1409. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Maximum penalty is up to, if convicted, is a fine of up to $2,650, 4 points against your driving record. And this charge carries a minimum fine established by the state legislature of $500 unless mitigation is shown. It can be reduced in half. Do you understand both the minimum and maximum penalty?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about those rights? Do you feel you understand? Do you know what a trial is? And you understand you have a right to hire an attorney. I don't have any paperwork from the prosecutor or anyone, so how would you like to handle your case? Showing you had insurance at the time?
No, just showing that I've rectified it since.
Okay. Did you talk to the prosecutor?
Sir.
Okay. The way the law is, it technically, the question is whether you had it at the time. If you got it afterwards, that can be mitigation on a sentence, but unless you're telling me you're contesting the charge, that really wouldn't apply other than to lower the fine. So, so are you telling me you're entering a plea of guilty to the charge? Okay. You understand a no contest plea means for sentencing purposes, a court gets to treat that as a guilty plea for purposes of jurisdiction. Means I get to impose the same penalty. So even if you plead no contest, you still would get the 4 points and you still would get a fine.
Then I would change the to guilty.
Okay. You understand by doing that, you're giving up the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Did anybody threaten you to make you plead guilty? Anybody make any promises? Is it your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision? Now that I asked all the required questions, I have to ask you to repeat, how do you plead to the charge? Court accepts your plea from a freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. In a sense, you got ahead of me. Normally, this is where people get to make a statement. You're welcome to say anything else you'd like to say. All right. Per what I can do on these at a maximum or a minimum, if you will, is that it's $500 suspended down to $250 based on mitigation. Required $25 surcharge by town council makes it $275, and we'll waive the court costs of $30. Do you need a payment plan?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you just step over the side, see my court clerk in the back. She'll take care of the paperwork and the funding.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate you.
Susan Carnes?
Curiel.
Oh, that's not what they wrote on here.
The officer in regards to him checking everything and one was under Cons and one was under Curiel. I think he just got them mixed up.
Okay. I guess the way it's coming back from the Colorado Driver's License Bureau, it says Carnes. But
I just
is that a recent name change or?
No. Years ago, but I have my Colorado driver's license currently under Curiel. Would you like to see that?
No,
Okay.
I believe you.
I'm just
I'm just looking at, this is our printout that they send, which has your old name on it for whatever reason. Okay. Ma'am, you are summoned to court to answer allegations. You supposedly drove with no proof of insurance, contrary to Model Traffic Code Section 1409. Do you understand the charge? Maximum penalty is a fine as high as $2,650, a minimum fine of $500, which can be reduced, showing mitigation to $250, and 4 points on your driving record. Do you understand the penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review that? Do you have any questions? Do you feel you understand it? Do you know what a trial is? You understand you have a right to an attorney. And I don't have any paperwork from the prosecutor on your case either. How are we handling your case?
I don't have anything forward to show as that vehicle that I was driving that day is being sold, so I did not have insurance on it. I was just trying to move it from one location to another, so I understand that I'm guilty for that. Moving forward, I haven't put on my friend's insurance for driving his truck on purposes for work.
I certainly can consider that mitigation. And I understand in a sense it's a technical violation, but that's how they wrote the law. So I'm going to take that as either a no contest or a guilty plea. Okay. You understand you're giving all your rights to trial. There'll be no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Again, anybody threaten you? Anybody make any promises? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? How do you plead to the charge? Court accepts your plea, find me freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Any other statement?
No, I could plead it a little bit further, but at least I'm on insurance for another vehicle, which is, I knew I should have been driving that vehicle to get, so I apologize on that. I am.
Expensive lesson. 500 suspended down to 250, $25 surcharge, waiving the court costs, $275. It's the best I can do for Christmas is suspend the court costs. Suspend it down to half. I don't have power to do any more than that. They have tied my hands. Please see my court clerk. And then this is the trial. Hmm, no, set for trial. Oh, okay,
Not guilty, this is other stuff.
okay.
Plan or.
Yes,
Or maybe at a later date.
you can have a payment plan between now and April.
Okay.
That's as far out as I'll go. Looks like it's Joshua Gillian Ferreras. Yes. Sir, you're summoned to court to answer allegations that you supposedly violated Model Traffic Code Section 1008 following too closely. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
It carries a penalty of 4 points on your driving record if convicted and a fine as high as $2,650. Do you understand the possible penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review your legal rights?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about your rights?
No, sir.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes, sir.
And do you know what a trial is?
Yes, sir.
And you understand you have a right to hire an attorney.
Yes, sir.
And I assume you know what a trial is because I have a note you're requesting to set this for trial.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will set this for trial January 21st. Is that the correct date? Okay. January 21st, 2026 at 5:30.
Another trial at 5:30.
Okay. 5:25, 5:45. All right, we'll see you next month.
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, back on the record, calling Adam Otto. Good afternoon, sir. You were summoned to court to answer allegations you were supposedly speeding. Do you understand the charge? The category you are in determines the penalty, and it's alleged you were between 20 and 39 over the posted limit, which mean if convicted, 6 points on your driving record and a possible fine as high as $2,650. And if found to be more than 25 over the posted limit, could result in up to 10 days in jail. Do you understand the possible penalty?
Yes.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
No.
Do you feel you understand them? Do you know what a trial is? You understand you have a right to an attorney? I have paperwork that instead of a trial, you'd like to enter into what's called a deferred judgment agreement with the prosecutor. The way this would work if you enter a plea is you are expected to state a plea of guilty to the original charge. However, it would go into a temporary court record we call a deferred record. You satisfy and complete the conditions of the agreement, which are basically just not to have any other traffic violations during the deferral period that carry 4 or more points. And this is for 12 months. Then at the end of that time, the case would be dismissed. If, on the other hand, we look back at any time up to the completion or at the time of completion and find that you've picked up other tickets somewhere, then the guilty plea would move to the permanent court record and be subject to being resentenced. Short version is after today, there will not be a trial on the facts. The only question is whether you get a hearing about whether or not you violated the agreement. Do you understand the procedure? Excuse me. You understand by doing this, you are giving up the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Did anybody promise you anything not said in court?
No, Your Honor.
Is this your free and voluntary plea? Now, are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
No, Your Honor.
Now we've covered all the required questions. How do you plead to the charge of speeding 6.20 to 39 over? Guilty or not? Court accepts your plea but defers it. Find to be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. At this point, you're entitled to make a statement and welcome to, but not required to, either about what happened or what the penalty should be, though you've got an agreement here. Anything you'd like to tell me?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Don't drive so fast. Looks like you have a clean record till this, and this is a chance to keep your record clean. I don't know what they're doing in Denver, but here they're doing traffic surveys because it seems like everybody's going faster, and we're going to put a stop to it by imposing jail for new cases after the first of the year. So keep it under 19 over, unless you want to spend time where you need to bring your toothbrush.
You're on fines.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the deferral fee is $100 and the $25 surcharge imposed by council for a total of $125. Are you able to pay that today or need a payment plan?
Yeah.
All right, please see the court clerk in the back corner.
Your Honor, I believe you have Vic in front of you.
I do.
May I have that file? He's
You may.
decided to take the offer. Thank you.
Court will next call the case of Brendan Wakefield. Is it Silvas?
Yep.
Okay. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you supposedly drove with no proof of insurance as required by Model Traffic Code Section 1409. Do you understand the charge?
Yes.
Maximum penalty is, if convicted, is 4 points on your driving record, a fine as high as $2,650, and a minimum fine of $500 unless mitigation is shown where it can be reduced in half. Do you understand the maximum and minimum penalty?
Yes.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your rights? Do you feel you understand them? Do you know what a trial is? Understand you have a right to hire an attorney. And I don't have any notes from anybody, so tell me what we're gonna do with your case.
I'm just gonna plead guilty. In terms of time, you now, and should be voted.
That's great. That would be mitigation. You understand by pleading guilty, you're giving up the rights listed in the right sheet, which means be no trial, no witnesses, and the prosecutor won't have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Means you're giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Did anybody threaten you? Anybody make any promises? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything? Now I've asked questions. I have to ask you to repeat. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Court accepts your plea, finding freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You sort of told me stuff. Anything else you want to tell me? All right, 500 suspended down to 250. $25 surcharge, suspending court costs, total 275. Do you need a payment plan?
No.
Okay, see my court clerk in the back to pay.
Recess?
Is that everybody?
No.
One more?
We're back on the record.
All right, back on the record, court calls Christopher Vick. Mr. Vick, good evening.
Great, how are you?
Good. Sir, you're summoned to court to answer allegations you were supposedly speeding 10 to 19 over the posted limit. Do you understand the charge? In the range of 10 to 19 over the posted limit, the maximum penalty is 4 points on your driving record and a fine as high as $2,650. Do you understand the possible penalty?
Yes, sir.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review your legal rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about those rights?
Yes.
Do you feel you understand them? Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
You understand you have a right to hire an attorney. I have paperwork that says instead of a trial, you wish to enter into a deferred judgment agreement with the prosecutor. The way that works is you are expected to state a plea of guilty, and actually this says nolo contendere here, which gets treated as a no contest plea, but gives the court the same jurisdiction as a guilty plea to the original charge. If you satisfy and complete the conditions of the agreement, which are that for the following 12 months, you will have no other traffic violations of 4 points or more. The case would be dismissed at the end of the 12-month deferral period. If at any time during the deferral period or at the end of it, when we look back of the record of 12 months, there's an allegation you had other tickets, you'd be entitled to a hearing about whether that was true. But if it was proved true, the guilty plea would then enter on the permanent record and you'd be subject to being resentenced with the original penalty possible. You understand that procedure? You understand by pleading guilty pursuant to this procedure, you are giving up all the rights listed on the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney. Understood?
No contest.
Right. Same thing, but you understand you're giving up all those rights. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty?
No, sir.
Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea? Are you under the influence of anything?
No, sir.
How do you plead to 4-point speeding? Court accepts your no contest plea, but defers it, find it be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to, but also not required to. Is there anything you want to tell me?
Hesitant to. I didn't speed. This was not me. I'm going to plead no contest because I live down in Evergreen, Colorado, and it takes a long time to come back and forth. I don't speed anyways, but
Okay. People make business judgment decisions. I don't know any of the facts because I don't look at police reports ahead of time in case there's a trial. I don't want to be biased ahead of time by what's in the report. And I sympathize with the commute because I did it for a year before I moved up here. So, I think Evergreen's pretty great, though it's gotten a little crowded for my taste. But that was 36 years ago I moved up.
oh wow.
So, but I still have some old neighbors who are friends that I camp with in the summer. So, used to live off of Lewis Ridge. So, all right. The fine. Well, it's a deferred, and the deferral fee is $100 and $25 by town council surcharge. Do you need a payment plan, or can you pay that? What? Please see the court clerk in the back. You too. Oscar Castillo.
Your Honor.
Good evening. Mr. Castillo, you were summoned to court to answer allegations that you were speeding. Do you understand the term speeding?
Yeah.
The category of speeding is alleged to be 20 to 39 over the posted limit, which means the maximum penalty is 6 points on a driving record and a fine as high as $2,650. And because if you were found to be more than 25 over, a possible 10 days in jail. Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
You were provided the written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review your legal rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about your legal rights?
No, Your Honor.
Do you feel you understand them?
Yes.
Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
You understand you have a right to an attorney?
Yes.
Paperwork that says instead of that, you wish to enter into a deferred judgment agreement with the prosecutor.
Yes, sir.
The way that works is you are expected to state a plea of guilty or no contest, in this case, no contest, nolo contendere in Latin, to the original charge. That will go into a deferred record. If you satisfy and complete the conditions of the agreement, the case would be dismissed. The conditions are no other tickets 4 points or greater during that time, and you acknowledge that a no contest plea enables the court to treat it as a guilty plea for jurisdiction and sentencing.
Yeah.
Again, if you satisfy this, it's dismissed. If it's alleged that you violate this, there could be a hearing about it if you request it. If it's proven that you violate this, then it moves to the permanent record and you're subject to being resentenced. Is that procedure clear?
Yes.
You understand by pleading guilty pursuant to this procedure, that you are giving up all the rights listed in the right sheet, which means there'll be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You are giving up your presumption of innocence and right to an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Did anybody threaten you?
No.
Anybody promise you anything? Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of anything?
No, Your
How do you plead? Guilty, no contest or,
Honor. No contest for the.
okay. Court accepts your plea and be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. You're entitled to make a statement and welcome to, but not required to. Is there anything you want to tell me?
Thank you for your mercy, I guess.
Well, you must have had a clean record, so everyone gets a second chance once. $100 deferral fee, $25 surcharge, total $125. Can you pay that today?
Yes, sir.
Please see the court clerk in the back.
Purple. Yeah. Yeah, I don't need this one.
Oh, is that the?
Yeah.
He said he doesn't need to speak with him at all. One.
Okay,
Two separate cases.
okay. Douglas Rugen, is it?
Yes, sir.
Could you come to the podium, sir?
Good, Your Honor.
Good. Counselor. Looks like this case is being dismissed at this time without prejudice.
No, that's.
That's an old note.
That's an old note. All right,
I guess I can,
all right.
I could give you, can I
Yes, go
give a little
ahead.
spiel? The bulk of the alleged violation occurred outside of the town of Frisco.
Okay,
However, the defendant was pulled over within the town, and the officer observed some allegedly reckless driving on behalf of the defendant within the town, and the defendant was cited within the town. Now, it's town's position that the bulk of the testimony being from outside of the town probably would not be enough for proving the case at trial for a reckless driving charge. And as such, I've come to the determination that if we were to go to trial, I would just dismiss the case and cite it in the county. However, because there was the small piece of the alleged violation that was observed by the officer and did occur within the town of Frisco, I think that there's enough there in the venue pie, if there's a small sliver of that pie, to constitute jurisdiction for this court to at least accept the plea today. And that plea would be dismissing the 8-point reckless charge and pleading guilty to a 4-point careless charge.
Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor, and we do appreciate the offer. Based on my review of the report, and I don't want to split hairs with Mr. Klein, but based on the report, the officer observed my client do an unsafe lane change after being pulled over when he lit up my client. My client went to the Frisco exit to get off, the Whole Foods exit. And the officer thought that the lane change wasn't safe, but there wasn't the reports from Vale Pass were speeding, following too closely. Those and reckless driving, those things were not observed by the officer. So for the purposes of the record, my assessment of the case was officer observed unsafe lane change, didn't charge my client with that, but did charge him with reckless driving solely based on the statements that were provided to him. I was a district attorney for 3 years in county court here, and so I'm very familiar with the CRSs or the CRS statutes for procedural rules. If a traffic infraction occurs in one county, can be prosecuted either where it happened or where they got pulled over in. When I look at the Frisco town code, the applicability, and this is my client is charged with a municipal code violation. Frisco has stated that the chapter applies to every street, alley, sidewalk, area, driveway, and park into every other public way or public parking area, either within or outside the corporate limits of the municipality. The use of which this municipality has jurisdiction and authority to regulate. You probably don't recognize me because I was only here once before in this case. I don't know what the jurisdictional limits are of I-70, but I would imagine it's pretty constrained by this. So I just want the court to be aware so that it doesn't accept a plea that it doesn't have jurisdiction to accept.
Okay. Are you accepting the plea?
We would accept it.
Okay. And are you stipulating to the jurisdiction? I mean, if you're gonna accept the plea and then challenge it on appeal that I didn't have jurisdiction, there's no point in me taking the plea.
Right.
If you're gonna take the plea and that's gonna be the end of the case, and no one appeals it, I don't see, other than it's an interesting issue for lawyers. So tell me, if we do this, is this the end of it, or are you going to appeal the plea?
Well, and I have to represent my client. That wasn't something that was stipulated to in the agreement. I don't know if the DA's.
I'm not saying it was part of your agreement. I'm asking you. Because whether or not I accept this plea depends upon your answer. If you tell me you're not going to appeal, if your client tells me he's not going to appeal, and you're accepting jurisdiction, I will accept this deal. But I'm not going to do useless paperwork just so you can do an appeal to get it dismissed.
Right, and that's why
I'm not going to set it up to dismiss. I will dismiss this without prejudice to be refiled in county, either in Vale or here. And then you don't have any jurisdictional issue and your client can face the original charges.
right, and that's why I wanted to bring this to the court's attention. If that was my goal, I would have just accepted the plea
Sure.
and filed a motion in a year to dismiss.
Right.
But we're being transparent here.
I appreciate it.
So,
I'm just trying to make the record transparent as to what I'm doing.
I just want to confer with my client since it's
Absolutely.
the dynamic of the
No
agreement.
rush.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Let me take this other case. Kent Henley. Mr. Henley, good afternoon or evening. Sir, you were summoned to court to answer allegations you supposedly failed to stop at a stop sign contrary to Model Traffic Code Section 703. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
The maximum penalty is, if convicted, 4 points on your driving record and a fine as high as $1,000. Do you understand the possible penalty?
Yes.
You were provided a written advisement of legal rights. Did you get a chance to read and review those rights?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your rights?
I have a question about the cost of going to court. That's it, but I do not have a question about my rights.
Okay. Do you feel you understand your rights? Do you know what a trial is?
Yes.
Okay. And you understand you have a right to hire an attorney? Okay. And your question about costs of going to court, there are no costs for going to court. There are costs assessed if you're found guilty or if you plead guilty to something. Does that answer your question? Okay. How would you like to proceed with your case?
What would be the cost? Would I be charged? What would be the cost if I was found guilty? Would be the $100 fine plus court costs?
Yes.
How much would court costs be?
Court costs are $30 court costs and $25 imposed by counsel.
I would like to plead not guilty
Okay,
and to go to court,
okay.
please.
We'll set this for trial next month?
Uh, would that be here?
Yes.
Yes, that works.
Okay. Did we set anything else for next month? Um,
5:30, 5:45 are set now.
would you rather I not set it until February?
It would be my preference, yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set this for February at 5:30. You have any problem with February, sir? Okay, no, yes, same as, it's always the third Wednesday of the month. In our February date, I've forgotten.
February 18th.
February 18th, 2026 at 5:30. See my court clerk for a written reminder and we'll go from there. Recalling Douglas Rugen.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I appreciate you giving me the time to talk about that. I just want to make sure my client knows what he's waiving. So he is gonna waive the jurisdiction issue and we're just gonna move forward with the plea.
Mr. Rugen, have you had adequate time to discuss this with your attorney? Okay, and you understand all the things we were discussing at this point about jurisdiction and your options? You understand your options and alternative and understand what we're gonna do?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, so you're agreeing you're going to plead guilty to careless driving and agree that the court has jurisdiction and agreeing there's not going to be an appeal.
With no contest, yes. I-
No contest.
Yes.
But otherwise agreeing to jurisdiction and no appeal.
Um,
That's what we talked about.
yes, Your Honor.
If you need more time, or you want to come back next month and talk about it, that's all fine too.
Well, to speak candidly, I don't really, okay, I won't speak candidly. So,
People speak candidly all the time. I don't worry about it.
yes, and I'm accepting the
Right.
and picking up 4 points.
Okay. Good. So that being established, you understand that by pleading no contest, and you understand no contest means I get to treat it as a guilty plea for sentencing and jurisdiction is the same as a guilty. That by pleading no contest, you're going to get sentenced to 4 points on your driving record, any fine that I determine. And you're giving up the rights listed in the right sheet is you're giving up your rights leading up to a trial that you would have at a trial, meaning there will be no trial, there'll be no witnesses. The prosecutor will not have to prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You're giving up your presumption of innocence. You understand all those things?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Did anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty? Did anybody make any promises not stated in court?
No.
Is this your free and voluntary plea?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of anything that affects your ability to make a decision?
Sir.
Now, we got through the required question part. How do you plead to the charge of careless driving?
No contest.
Court will accept your plea. Find be freely, voluntarily, and knowingly made. Counsel, do you believe I've complied with Rule 11?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Further statements about the case by counsel?
I have nothing, Your Honor.
Your Honor, my client got a CDL so that he could work for the Quandary shuttle, you know, bringing people from Breck up to Quandary and McCullough Gulch. He does pride himself on being a very safe driver. His version of events are are different than what was reported. There were two civilian reports who felt like Mr. Rugen was following too closely, speeding, getting too close to cars. And I think this is the challenges. We don't know these people. We don't know what they consider safe driving. Obviously there's a wide spectrum out there. And the level is different for each person on when they decide to call in a driver. I think one of them may have suspected Mr. Rugen was under the influence. He's been sober for many years, 32 years. The officer didn't note any signs of intoxication. That's not what this is about. And so, they call, it started all the way back in Avon. And Mr. Rugen actually, there was some sort of, both drivers noticed each other and they followed each other from Avon all the way to Frisco. And that RP was saying my client was speeding. So, therefore they would have had to been speeding if they followed him for an hour as well. So I don't know how dangerous it was.
Well, if you're speeding, it was 45 minutes.
Yeah. But my client noticed this white Lexus. He wrote the plate number down. He didn't call them in as reckless. He tried to make the report when he got pulled over. So I think there was, he just got called in first. That's what happened here. So, an officer got the call from dispatch, was posted up on I-70, saw Mr. Rugen pass, didn't report any speeding, no reckless driving, no following too closely. When he, as I said earlier, when he lit Mr. Rugen up, Mr. Rugen, wanted to get off the interstate, pulled off onto the Frisco exit, and the officer felt like the signal didn't get used for long enough. I think this has been hard for Mr. Rugen to grapple with, that people can sort of call him in and, they get their side of the story to the police, and the best thing Mr. Rugen can do is kind of take an offer, and, based on the top charge, it is a fair offer. It's a, half point reduction. It's not the type of situation that it's probably worth going to trial on, but, if we did, these two RPs might not show up and the officer doesn't have any independent observation. So we discussed a lot of that. Ultimately we think it's an appropriate offer. I would ask the court to do the minimum fine here. My client doesn't have a ton of money, and so I would ask that the court cut some slack on the fine if possible. And if there's a payment plan he can set up, he may be interested in that as well. So that's all, Your Honor.
Before I get to your client, since new legal issue, because you just informed me this is a CDL case, I think I need to make a finding.
Could I do that?
Sure.
Thank you. I found that there was a factual basis for the reduction of the charge, and thus this does not implicate the anti-masking statute. As you're familiar,
going to make that finding.
reckless driving and careless driving, very similar in terms of the facts necessary to establish either one. And I actually found that the facts here supported careless as much as they did reckless.
Well, and I would find for the anti-masking finding that two reporting civilians not professionally trained raises factual questions as to what could actually be proved, and therefore satisfies the requirement that whatever plea be factually supported by the plea. So crossing that T.
Thank you.
Or crossing that M, whatever that is. All right, we've covered that. Now, sir, now we've dabbled in all the legal issues of your case. You have the right to make a statement, but you're also not required to, but you're certainly welcome to make any statements you'd like.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Your Honor. I mean, I just got, I'm glad to be here. I'm sorry that, I have to be here. The best thing I can say here is I understand the importance of safe driving always for me. I'm 52 years old. Yes, I've been sober since I was 20 years old. Happy, I mean, glad to be. And I have been driving since I was 16 years old. CDL, in which I studied all summer for. My job in Breckenridge is done. Somewhere else. I'm in Eagle County now, driving. I studied all summer, and I passed my CDLB driving test in like September 15th. So being safe on the roads is everything to me. I don't consider myself wanton, reckless, or even careless ever in my driving. I always respect other people on the streets and of course their property that belongs to them that goes along with it. That's it. My job is important to me. I work so I can pay bills and live and have a living and in my safe way here in Colorado, which is a beautiful state that I'm grateful for. And Frisco, I certainly feel that also that I did use my signal in front of the officer. I was driving the speed limit past him. I was listening to music. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was going to Silverthorne to run an errand to pick up a pair of sunglasses at the Sunglasses Hut. I was out of coffee. I didn't think he was going to pull me over. I really didn't have any sense of guilt or wrongdoing. Used my signal at the last minute. And I think he signaled that he turned his lit up after I signaled and then in that very few moments, he thought I was evading him, but not at all. I'm sure that I signaled and which wasn't reckless at all either. I just signaled at the last minute and decided that I was going to get a refill of coffee at Starbucks on the other side of the street from the Safeway. And, then he lit up and I mean, of course I pulled over and that's it. Long story short. I'm glad that I get to explain this. It's been hard for me and stressful for the last 2 months since I got it at 3 months to feel like I have to defend myself against something that I didn't really do wrong. That's been it. But thank you for your time and for the court also. If I said too much, I apologize.
You're entitled to speak your piece. I appreciate your statement about recognizing the need for safe driving and and appreciate we can't necessarily understand what's in someone else's mind that they bring to a situation. So all that being said, normal fine on this is 200. I will reduce it to 95, but there are the required council surcharges and court costs of 25 and 30, which are 55, brings you to 150, which is still less than the usual fine for the charge. Do you need a payment plan on that?
Yes, please, Your Honor, and thank you
What
for
would
that.
you like to pay a month?
Actually, I don't know what the total is. It sounds like it's
Total is
130,
150.
150. I may be able to pay it this evening.
Well, I can do an extension to just our next court date or in January, or at the end of January, or in February, your choice.
End of January is
I
perfect.
believe our next court date is January 28th. First.
Does that mean I have court to come back to court?
No, that's just a due date. It's just for us reviewing.
You-
It's a pay it by that date or appear date. If you pay it, then the court date's vacated. Does that sound clear enough?
Yes, sir. So I pay it by January 28th or come back to court.
21st.
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 Yes, thank you. Yes, Your Honor.
Any other questions?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.